Dolphins are marine mammals belonging to the order Cetacea and the family Delphinidae. They are celebrated for their intelligence, social complexity, and incredible adaptations to aquatic life, streamlined bodies, powerful tails called flukes, sophisticated echolocation, and long-lasting social bonds. Found in oceans and some rivers worldwide, different species, like the common bottlenose, orca, killer whale, a large dolphin, and river dolphins, display wildly varied behaviors and ecological roles. In this video we'll unpack 20 surprising, lesser-known facts about dolphins, explaining the biology and science behind each one so you can truly understand how remarkable these animals are. Fact 1. They have names. When we say dolphins have names, we're referring to a well-documented phenomenon, individual-specific signature whistles. In the late 20th century, researchers studying bottlenose dolphins, Tursiops truncatus, discovered that each individual develops a unique whistle pattern, its signature whistle, that functions much like a human name. These whistles are stereotyped frequency, time contours, an identifiable pattern of pitch, duration, and modulation that remains recognizable across different contexts. Biologically, this system fulfills the same core problem names do for humans, identifying and addressing individuals within a complex social group. From a neurological standpoint, producing and recognizing these whistles requires advanced auditory processing and vocal control. Dolphins possess specialized structures in their vocal apparatus, air sacs and phonic lips in the nasal passages that allow fine modulation of sound, and an auditory cortex highly tuned to detect minute acoustic differences. Playback experiments have shown that dolphins respond to recordings of their own signature whistle with increased attention or approach behavior, evidence that they recognize the whistle as referring to themselves. Likewise, when researchers play the signature whistles of other dolphins, those other individuals often respond, indicating recognition and social relevance. Importantly, signature whistles do more than label individuals. They are used to maintain contact over distance, coordinate group movements, call for lost calves, or even re-establish relationships after long separations. Ecologically and socially, having names confers clear advantages. Dolphins live in fission, fusion societies, groups that form, split, and recombine frequently, so an efficient identification system reduces the cost of social interactions and helps manage alliances, mating opportunities, and parental care. This is especially crucial in murky or noisy waters where visual cues are limited. The presence of signature whistles also reveals the cultural and developmental complexity of dolphins. Calves learn their whistles through a mix of innate tendencies and social learning, sometimes mimicking or modifying patterns heard from companions. This combination of biological constraints and flexible learning leads to highly individualized acoustic signatures. Finally, this naming system is a window into cognitive sophistication. For an animal to assign and use stable acoustic labels suggests a representation of self and other, memory for conspecifics, and the ability to apply abstract reference to individuals, traits that place dolphins among the most cognitively complex non-human animals. So, when you hear dolphins have names, it's not just poetic, it's a scientifically supported statement about their acoustic signaling, social cognition, and the biological machinery that supports individualized communication. If you're enjoying diving into dolphin secrets, please subscribe to Animal Hidden Facts. Subscribing helps our creative team keep researching and producing deep dive videos like this one. Your support strengthens our community of curious viewers, helps fund future field research and animations, and ensures we can keep bringing you meaningful science in an engaging way. Hit subscribe, it really does make a difference. Fact 2. They remember friends for decades. One of the most astonishing discoveries about dolphin social memory is their ability to remember and recognize individual companions after extremely long separations, decades in some cases. This long-term social memory has been most thoroughly documented in bottlenose dolphins. The underlying basis for such memory draws on several interrelated biological systems, specialized neural structures for long-term memory, acoustic identity signals, signature whistles, and stable social relationships that reinforce memory through reuse and emotional salience. From a neurobiological perspective, dolphins have large, highly convoluted brains with expanded neocortical regions and a well-developed hippocampal system, areas implicated in memory encoding and retrieval in mammals. While dolphin neuroanatomy is not identical to ours, the presence of these structures indicates substantial capacity for storing complex, multimodal social memories. Acoustic cues, particularly signature whistles, provide reliable, unique identifiers that can be encoded into long-term memory. Because signatures are stable over time, they serve as durable hooks for recall. Empirically, the evidence comes from playback studies and long-term field observations. In a landmark experiment, researchers recorded signature whistles of dolphins and played them back to individuals after long intervals. The dolphins responded to whistles of former associates even after 20 years apart, indicating recognition. Field biologists tracking marked individuals have documented the reformation of social bonds between dolphins that haven't interacted for decades. What enables this is not merely passive memory but an active, emotionally colored memory system. Social relationships in dolphins are often forged and reinforced through affiliative behaviors, rubbing, synchronous swimming, cooperative foraging, each interaction strengthening the social trace. Emotions, pleasure from social play, the stress of separation, likely modulate memory consolidation via neurochemical systems like oxytocin and dopamine, which strengthen social memories in many mammals. The adaptive value is clear. Dolphins often form long-term alliances and coalitions that play crucial roles in reproduction, foraging, and defense. Remembering allies over decades allows individuals to re-establish partnerships, navigate social hierarchies, and coordinate cooperative behaviors efficiently. This is especially important in long-lived species inhabiting dynamic coastal and marine environments, where individuals may disperse and later reunite. Such durable social memory also suggests advanced social cognition. Dolphins must form representations of individuals that persist beyond immediate sensory cues, integrate these representations with social history, and use them to guide future behavior. In sum, the decades-long memories dolphins display are rooted in their neural architecture, reinforced by signature whistles and emotional social bonds, and confer vital fitness benefits in their fluid social world. Fact 3. They can understand grammar-like rules. Experiments with captive dolphins have demonstrated abilities that go beyond simple associative learning. They can understand rule-based sequences that resemble rudimentary grammar. This doesn't mean dolphins know human language grammar in all its complexity, but it shows they can process ordered relationships between elements and respond to changes in sequence, an important cognitive capacity. The classic experimental approach uses two-part commands or sequences of objects and actions to test whether an animal recognizes order-dependent meaning. For dolphins, researchers trained animals to respond to sequences of acoustic signals or gestural cues where the order determined the required action. In one famous class of tasks, a dolphin would hear two different signals, call them A and B, each associated with an action or object. If the dolphin heard A followed by B, it would be trained to perform action 1. If B followed by A, it would perform action 2. The dolphin's success in these tasks indicates sensitivity not just to the individual signals but to their sequence, an elementary syntactic process. The relation between elements changes the overall meaning. Neuroscientifically, processing sequences requires working memory and temporal integration, keeping earlier signals online while interpreting later ones. Dolphins' brains appear well equipped for this. Their large, complex cerebral cortices support high-level processing, and their auditory systems can precisely time and discriminate temporal patterns. Additionally, dolphins' natural communicative behaviors, signature whistles, burst pulse sounds, and varied echolocation clicks are structured temporally, suggesting evolutionary pressure for temporal pattern processing. Importantly, rule-based learning in dolphins generalizes. They can transfer the idea of order matters to new signal pairs, showing that they aren't merely memorizing fixed combinations but extracting abstract rules. From an ecological perspective, the capacity to process ordered sequences can enhance social coordination and foraging. In cooperative hunts or alliance maneuvers, timing and sequence of actions are critical. For example, coordinated drives of fish towards shallow water require synchronized turns and so on. The ability to understand that AB differs from BA lets dolphins predict partner behavior and adjust strategies. While dolphins don't produce human-like sentences, their ability to handle grammar-like structures adds to the evidence that their communication and cognition operate on hierarchical and temporal principles, foundations of syntax. Therefore, claims about grammar-like understanding are grounded in controlled behavioral experiments, neural prerequisites for temporal processing, and the clear adaptive utility of sequence comprehension in their natural lives. Fact 4. They teach each other new tricks. Dolphin culture, transmission of learned behavior across individuals and generations, is one of the most compelling examples of social learning outside humans. Social learning occurs when one individual acquires a behavior by observing or interacting with another, and in dolphins, researchers have documented several clear instances where such learning produces population-level traditions. A classic example is sponging among bottlenose dolphins in Shark Bay, Western Australia. In this behavior, primarily females were marine sponges over their rostrums, snouts, while foraging along the seafloor. The sponge acts as a protective glove, allowing the dolphin to probe soft sediments for hidden prey without injuring its delicate rostrum. Critically, sponging is not observed in all Shark Bay dolphins. It appears in matrilineal clusters, mother-to-offspring transmission, and is culturally inherited. Behavioral studies show that young dolphins adopt sponging only if their mothers or closely associated adults perform it, and they don't invent it de novo elsewhere. This pattern, confinement to certain lineages, vertical transmission, and lack of ecological necessity outside those lineages, is a hallmark of culture. The mechanics of teaching versus imitation can be subtle. Teaching, in strict ethological terms, means a demonstrator incurring some cost or adjusting behavior to facilitate learning in an observer. In dolphins, detailed evidence for active teaching, the teacher modifying behavior to help the pupil learn, is rarer, but there are examples consistent with facilitation. Older dolphins may slow behaviors during cooperative hunts, expose calves to prey handling opportunities, or model specific foraging techniques. More generally, high-fidelity imitation, closely copying the actions of another, is common and supports rapid cultural transmission. Dolphins' advanced social cognition, attention to conspecifics, echolocation to track actions, and long periods of juvenile dependence fosters a learning environment where innovations can spread. From an evolutionary standpoint, social learning reduces the cost of trial and error and allows rapid adaptation to local ecological conditions, like exploiting a novel food source or navigating unique coastal topography. It also generates behavioral diversity among populations living in similar habitats, because the behaviors that persist depend on who learns from whom. In scientific terms, this makes dolphins a prime example of non-human culture, supported by rigorous field observations, controlled experiments in captivity showing learning via demonstration, and the clear adaptive benefits of inherited techniques like sponging. Fact 5. They invent games. Play in animals is more than just fun. It's a developmental and cognitive rehearsal that supports social bonds, motor learning, and problem solving. Dolphins are consummate players. Researchers have documented them engaging in complex, repeated interactions solely for enjoyment. Examples include object play, pushing seaweed, floating objects, social play, chasing, synchronized leaps, gentle mouthing, and what looks suspiciously like recreational drug use, handling of toxic pufferfish. Pufferfish, when stressed, release tetrodotoxin, a potent neurotoxin, but in very small amounts can cause mild neurological effects. Observers have reported groups of dolphins carefully mouthing pufferfish and passing them around in a way that suggests a ritualized manipulation. The pufferfish is not consumed as food, but used to provoke a physiological response. Dolphins appear to nudge a pufferfish to release minute toxin doses, then exhibit altered and sometimes lethargic behavior, possibly analogous to intoxication. While the exact motivations are debated, novel prey handling, curiosity, or deliberate intoxication, the structured, repeated nature of the interaction and the social context strongly indicate its play-like experimentation with altered states. From a developmental and cognitive perspective, play serves multiple functions. Motor play refines coordination, crucial for hunting and acrobatics. Social play establishes and tests hierarchies, strengthens alliances, and develops signaling skills necessary for adult interactions. Cognitive play, manipulating objects, devising novel actions, promotes innovation, problem-solving, and creativity. Dolphins' highly encephalized brains, long juvenile periods, and sociable nature create fertile ground for sophisticated play. Moreover, group play often includes role differentiation, some individuals pursuing while others evade, reflecting tactical flexibility transferable to hunting. Ecologically, play may also serve as low-cost practice for complex behaviors needed in variable environments, synchronized hunting, cooperative defense, and navigation through cluttered habitats. Playful object transfers, passing sea sponges, shells, or pufferfish, also enhance social cohesion via shared rituals. In summary, dolphins invent games not merely for amusement but because play is a biologically adaptive behavior that facilitates learning, social bonding, and cognitive flexibility. Whether it's a structured chase, a complex object ritual, or risky pufferfish manipulation, play reveals dolphins' curiosity, cognitive depth, and cultural life. Fact 6. They can shut off half their brain. Unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, USWS, is a remarkable physiological adaptation found in dolphins and several other aquatic and semi-aquatic mammals and birds. In USWS, one cerebral hemisphere exhibits electroencephalogram, EEG, slow-wave activity indicative of deep sleep while the other hemisphere remains in a wake-like state, maintaining sensory vigilance and motor control. This sleeping strategy allows dolphins to rest without fully losing consciousness, essential for surface breathing and predator vigilance. Biophysically, USWS manifests as reduced metabolic and neural activity in one hemisphere, while neuronal firing patterns in the opposite hemisphere stay relatively desynchronized and wake-like. The behavioral correlates are clear. Dolphins in USWS often float or swim slowly in a steady pattern, occasionally surfacing for air. They maintain righting reflexes and coordinated swimming, avoiding the risks that would accompany total immobility in a three-dimensional aquatic environment. Failure to employ USWS would be costly. Dolphins must surface to breathe voluntarily and also need to remain alert to predators like sharks, especially in shallow or coastal waters. Thus, USWS balances the competing demands of physiological rest and continuous life support tasks. Evolutionarily, USWS likely emerged under the selective pressures of airway control, thermoregulation, and continuous environmental monitoring. For a mammal that evolved from terrestrial ancestors with automatic breathing, the shift to voluntary respiration demanded neural adaptations that prevented total loss of breath control during sleep. The neural circuitry enabling USWS may involve asymmetric inhibition of sleep-promoting centers in the brainstem, modulation by neurotransmitters like GABA and adenosine, and precise interhemispheric coordination through the corpus callosum and other commissural pathways. USWS also impacts social and cognitive behavior. Because dolphins do not enter full bilateral REM sleep the way many terrestrial mammals do, some aspects of sleep-dependent memory consolidation may occur differently. Yet dolphins exhibit excellent learning and memory, suggesting they either consolidate memories during brief bilateral sleep episodes, during the awake hemisphere's activity, or via alternative neurophysiological mechanisms. Observational studies show that dolphins alternate USWS between hemispheres over periods, effectively giving each hemisphere periodic recovery. In social groups, some dolphins may stay more alert while others rest, providing a collective safety net. In some, the ability to shut off half the brain is a sophisticated evolutionary solution to the challenges of aquatic life, integrating neural control, respiration, and social ecology. Fact 7. They breathe consciously. One of the most fundamental differences between dolphins and terrestrial mammals like us is the control of breathing. Dolphins are voluntary breathers. Each breath requires conscious neural input rather than an entirely automatic brainstem reflex. This stems from their evolutionary shift from land-dwelling ancestors with diaphragmatic lungs to fully aquatic life where surfacing for air must be actively managed. Anatomically, dolphins breathe through a dorsal blowhole connected to the lungs via a specialized respiratory tract. Muscles around the blowhole and airway are under voluntary cortical and brainstem control. Respiratory centers in dolphins integrate sensory inputs, oxygen and carbon dioxide levels, pressure receptors, and behavioral context to determine when cortical commands should trigger inhalation. Because sleep in dolphins involves unihemispheric slow-wave patterns, see previous fact, even sleeping dolphins must periodically send cortical commands to the respiratory musculature to surface and breathe. This necessity partly explains the evolution of unihemispheric sleep. Dolphins cannot afford to fully lose voluntary control of breathing. The conscious nature of breathing also shapes their behavior and cognition. It imposes a constraint. The need to plan for when to surface requires a level of anticipatory control and spatial awareness. For example, deep-diving species must manage oxygen stores proactively, adjusting heart rate, peripheral blood flow, and behavior to avoid hypoxia. Dolphins show apnea tolerance mediated by physiological adjustments, bradycardia, slowed heart rate, selective vasoconstriction, and increased reliance on oxygen stored in muscle myoglobin. The conscious decision to breathe also influences social behavior. During long dynamic chases or cooperative hunting, individuals coordinate surfacing intervals, often by visual or acoustic signals, to maintain group cohesion and respiration schedules. Clinically and experimentally, voluntary breathing exposes dolphins to unique vulnerabilities. In captivity, if a dolphin becomes sedated or cannot initiate breathing, it is at immediate risk of hypoventilation. Care protocols must ensure regular surfacing. Conversely, voluntary breathing affords dolphins unusual flexibility. They can modulate breath frequency and force to shape vocalizations, echolocation clicks, and complex whistles used in communication. The production of acoustic signals is intimately linked to respiratory control. Pushing air through phonic lips and nasal sacs generates the sounds that underpin social and echolocation behaviors. So, conscious breathing in dolphins is both a physiological constraint and a functional asset, central to survival, social coordination, and acoustic communication in the marine environment. Fact 8. They have a built-in sonar better than ours. Echolocation is a sensory marvel. Dolphins emit focused clicks and listen to returning echoes to build precise mental maps of their surroundings. Compared to human sensory systems, echolocation provides distance, size, shape, texture, and even internal structural information about objects, allowing dolphins to see with sound in turbid or dark water where vision is limited. Mechanically, echolocation relies on specialized anatomical features. Dolphins produce clicks in the nasal region, airflow across specialized structures called phonic lips, then direct and focus those clicks using fatty tissues in the forehead known as the melon. The melon acts as an acoustic lens, shaping beam width and focus. Returning echoes are received primarily through the lower jaw, which contains dense fat channels that transmit vibrations to the middle and inner ear. From there, highly sensitive auditory pathways process minute differences in echo return time and frequency to compute distance and material properties. Performance metrics for dolphin echolocation are impressive. Under experimental conditions, dolphins have detected and discriminated targets as small as a golf ball, about 4.3 centimeters diameter, at many tens of meters, and they can discern fine structural differences in objects and even reconstruct three-dimensional shapes. Echolocation resolution depends on click frequency and bandwidth. Higher frequency, broadband clicks provide finer resolution but attenuate more quickly in water. Dolphins balance these trade-offs by modulating click rates and spectral content depending on task demands, using rapid buzzes when homing in on prey, and slower click trains for navigation. Beyond mere detection, echolocation can reveal internal features by analyzing complex echo patterns, what researchers call target strength and spectral coloration. Subtle differences in tissue density or layering, like those associated with a fish's swim bladder or a pregnant mammal's fetus, produce distinct echo signatures. Anecdotal and experimental reports suggest dolphins can detect pregnancy-related changes in conspecifics or humans via echolocation, though this remains an area for careful scientific validation. Importantly, echolocation integrates with cognition. dolphins actively sample the environment by moving the head or changing beam direction, creating multi-perspective acoustic views, analogous to humans moving their eyes or head to resolve visual ambiguity. Finally, echolocation is a dynamic, active sense. Dolphins control emission, beam forming, and auditory attention. In social contexts, they can echolocate cooperatively, using clicks to share information about prey or obstacles. In evolutionary terms, echolocation provided a massive adaptive advantage in aquatic niches, enabling fine-scale foraging, navigation in low-visibility habitats, and communication over distances. So when we say dolphins have a built-in sonar better than ours, we mean they possess a biologically integrated, high-resolution acoustic imaging system that gives them sensory access to aspects of the marine world that vision alone cannot provide. Fact 9. They don't drink seawater. Despite their life spent in saltwater, dolphins do not directly drink seawater like many marine fishes might. Instead, they obtain fresh water primarily from two sources: the metabolic water produced during oxidation of food, and the water content of their prey. This physiological strategy avoids the severe osmotic challenges that would accompany regular seawater ingestion. Marine mammals are hyperosmotic relative to seawater. Seawater has higher salt content than their body fluids, so drinking it would promote dehydration rather than hydration. Dolphins have evolved a suite of renal and metabolic adaptations to manage salt and water balance. Their kidneys are reniculate, that is, composed of many small lobes, similar to other marine mammals, which increases surface area and filtration efficiency. These kidneys can produce concentrated urine, allowing dolphins to excrete excess salts without losing excessive amounts of water. However, even efficient reniculate kidneys cannot fully counteract the osmotic load of regular seawater ingestion. Therefore, metabolic water becomes central. Through cellular respiration, the oxidation of fats and proteins yields water as a byproduct. For every gram of fat oxidized, several grams of water are produced. Dolphin diets, rich in oily fish and cephalopods, provide both hydration and calories. Prey items contain intracellular and extracellular water that can be directly absorbed during digestion. Additionally, certain behaviors, like consuming prey whole, reduce water loss that might occur through digestion and processing. Physiologically, dolphins must also regulate electrolytes. Sodium and chloride levels are controlled via renal excretion, and specialized sweat-like glands are absent, so evaporation isn't a major route of water loss. Behavioral strategies help too. Dolphins avoid overheating by staying in water, minimizing evaporative water loss, and they time deep dives to optimize oxygen and energy use. In evolutionary perspective, this reliance on prey-derived water likely constrained early cetaceans' foraging and metabolic strategies, favoring calorie-dense diets with sufficient water yield. It also explains why disruption of prey availability, through overfishing or ecosystem change, can quickly impact marine mammal hydration and health. So, while dolphins live in the ocean, they are not seawater drinkers. Their physiology and diet are tuned to extract and conserve fresh water internally, combined with powerful renal adaptations to manage salts. Fact 10. They can taste but not smell. In dolphins, the senses of taste and smell display a curious dissociation. They have taste buds and can detect gustatory cues, but most dolphins lack an olfactory apparatus comparable to terrestrial mammals, effectively rendering them anosmic, or without a sense of smell. This sensory arrangement reflects evolutionary trade-offs tied to life in water and the functional redundancy of olfaction in aquatic environments. Anatomically, olfaction in terrestrial mammals depends on the olfactory epithelium in the nasal cavity and olfactory bulbs in the brain. In cetaceans, early in their evolutionary transition from land to sea, selection favored changes to the nasal passages for efficient respiration and sound production, e.g., dorsal placement of the blowhole and development of phonic lips. As a result, many cetaceans, including most odontocetes, toothed whales like dolphins, have reduced or absent olfactory bulbs and correspondingly limited nasal olfactory epithelia. This anatomical reduction correlates with functional loss. Olfaction is of little use underwater where odor gradients dissipate and chemical signals diffuse slowly. In contrast, some mysticetes, baleen whales, retain more rudimentary olfactory structures, reflecting ecological differences. Taste, however, remains functionally useful. Dolphins possess taste buds across the oral cavity and can discriminate basic taste qualities: bitter, salty, sour, and to some extent sweet, though their taste repertoire may be reduced compared to terrestrial mammals. Taste assists in prey choice, detection of spoiled or toxic food, and gating ingestion. Importantly, dolphins use other sensory modalities, echolocation and vision, more heavily for prey detection and identification. So taste often functions as a final check during ingestion rather than the primary sensing modality. This sensory profile has ecological implications. The lack of smell reduces reliance on chemical cues for social communication or foraging. Instead, dolphins depend on acoustic and tactile signals. Their high-resolution echolocation and complex vocal repertoires compensate for the diminished chemosensory domain. Evolutionarily, the trade-off is sensible: redirect neural and anatomical resources toward modalities that work effectively in water, sound, and echolocation, rather than maintaining a costly olfactory system of limited utility. Thus, when we say dolphins can taste but not smell, we're describing a sensory architecture shaped by aquatic life, preserved gustatory function for ingestion control, but a diminished olfactory system because chemical sensing is less effective underwater and because the nasal anatomy became repurposed for breathing and sound production. Fact 11. They form long-term alliances, even politics. Dolphins' social lives are not merely friendly, they are politically strategic. In species like the bottlenose dolphin, males often form long-term alliances and coalitions, stable partnerships that can span years or even decades, used to secure access to mates, defend territories, and outcompete rivals. These alliances reflect advanced social cognition and a capacity for cooperative planning. The social structure of male dolphins frequently involves hierarchical layers, primary alliances, tight-knit pairs or trios that cooperate closely in mating and defense, and secondary alliances, larger groups composed of multiple primary alliances. In some populations, primary alliances will cooperate with other alliances to herd or guard females, forming complex multi-level coalitions. This social architecture resembles aspects of human political behavior. Individuals form partnerships to increase their power and reproductive success, and alliances can shift based on changing interests and opportunities. Biologically, forming alliances requires several cognitive and behavioral capacities. Individuals must recognize and remember multiple conspecifics, evaluate their reliability as partners, and maintain reciprocal behaviors over time. This imposes demands on memory systems, social learning, and emotional regulation. Neurochemicals like oxytocin and vasopressin that mediate social bonding in many mammals probably play roles in maintaining alliances among dolphins, supported by affiliative behaviors such as synchronized swimming, false cap plays, and tactile rubbing that reinforce bonds. Ecologically, alliances yield direct fitness benefits. Males cooperating can more effectively control female movements during mating season, displace solitary rivals, and defend against predation or theft of food. Cooperative foraging is another context where alliances provide advantage. Coordinated herding and role specialization increase capture success and reduce individual energy expenditure. Interestingly, alliances are not static. Dolphins exhibit flexible partner choices, occasionally cheating or switching alliances when better opportunities arise, which demonstrates tactical social intelligence and an understanding of reciprocity and long-term strategy. The presence of such political-like structures in dolphin societies challenges simplistic views of non-human social organization. Instead, it reveals an intricate matrix of cooperation, competition, memory, and strategic decision-making, an animal politics shaped by ecological pressures and enabled by cognitive complexity. Observational studies documenting alliance formation, mating success correlation with coalition strength, and long-term partnerships provide strong empirical support for this view. Fact 12. They grieve. Reports of grieving behavior in dolphins, individuals staying with, supporting, or carrying deceased companions, have drawn attention to their emotional depth. While attributing human-style emotions requires caution, the observed behaviors are consistent with effective processing, sustained, atypical responses to the death of conspecifics, especially calves. Empirical observations show adult dolphins, often mothers, lingering with dead calves for hours to days, gently supporting or pushing the body near the surface, and sometimes appearing to display reduced foraging or social engagement during this period. Other dolphins in the social group may gather around the deceased, emit unusual vocalizations, or guard the area, behaviors suggestive of collective distress. These actions mirror grief-like responses seen in elephants, some primates, and corvids, indicating convergent evolutionary solutions to bereavement in socially complex, long-lived animals. Neurobiology can help explain these responses. Dolphins possess limbic system structures, amygdala, hippocampus, and associated networks, linked to emotion and social memory in mammals. Neurochemical mediators like oxytocin and endogenous opioids modulate social attachment and bonding. Abrupt disruption of these attachments, e.g., via death, could produce distress and behaviors aimed at maintaining contact. Additionally, prolonged maternal investment and high juvenile dependence make calf loss particularly salient. Mothers have invested significant energy and time in the offspring, and the abrupt removal of this relationship likely triggers intense, evolutionarily conserved responses. From an adaptive perspective, why might grief-like behaviors exist? One hypothesis suggests that prolonged attention to dead conspecifics could have practical benefits. Inspecting a carcass allows the living to assess cause of death, reducing contagion risk or warning about predators. However, many observed behaviors, gentle carrying of corpses, refusal to abandon deceased calves, seem more about social attachment than practical investigation. These behaviors may be byproducts of strong bonding systems. The mechanisms that promote caregiving, cooperation, and social cohesion can produce intense distress when bonds are severed, and the behavioral output, lingering, touching, vocalizing, reflects attempts to restore contact or process the loss. Importantly, scientists interpret these behaviors carefully. Grief in dolphins is best understood as complex affective responses tied to social attachment and cognitive capabilities for individual recognition and memory, not as anthropomorphic projection. The consistency of reactions across different groups and the similarity to grief-like responses in other social mammals support the interpretation that dolphins experience emotionally meaningful reactions to death. Fact 13. They rescue other species. Accounts of dolphins intervening to help other species, including humans and whales, are scattered across marine ethnographies and observational studies. These interventions take multiple forms, from protecting swimmers from shark approaches to assisting distressed or stranded whales. While anecdotal reports require careful vetting, repeated, independently observed behaviors suggest that dolphins sometimes engage in interspecific altruism or risk-taking that benefits others. One well-known context is human-dolphin encounters where dolphins have appeared to shepherd swimmers away from perceived threats, often forming protective circles or creating physical barriers between swimmers and sharks. In other cases, dolphins have guided exhausted swimmers or vessels toward safety. Another class of behavior involves cetacean assistance. Dolphins have been observed supporting injured or sick conspecifics and, less frequently, interacting helpfully with other marine mammals, pushing a stranded or incapacitated whale closer to deeper water, for instance. Biologically, such helping behaviors may stem from general mechanisms that evolved for interspecific cooperation, strong social bonds, empathy-like responses, and sensitivity to distress cues. Dolphins are acutely responsive to others' vocal and behavioral signals. An individual in distress emits distinctive calls and movements that elicit approach and assistance in group members. Neurobiologically, mirror neuron systems and limbic structures involved in social cognition and affect may underlie spontaneous helping responses by enabling an animal to resonate with another's state. From an evolutionary standpoint, altruism toward non-conspecifics is puzzling because it provides no direct kin or reciprocal benefits in most cases. Several hypotheses can reconcile this. First, paying attention to distress cues can be generally adaptive. Responding to anomalies in the environment reduces risks to the individual, e.g., a predator presence that harms others may soon harm you. Second, byproducts of social cognition, like generalized empathy, may promote occasional cross-species help without strong selection specifically for it. Third, interactions with humans or other species may produce associative reinforcement. Dolphins that associate humans with positive outcomes, food provisioning, curious play, may develop prosocial orientations toward people. Critically, scientific interpretations remain cautious. Reported rescues vary in motivation and outcome, and distinguishing intentional helping from coincidental behavior requires rigorous observation. Nonetheless, the accumulation of credible reports, paired with dolphins' social cognition, sensitivity to distress, and capacity for coordinated action, supports the conclusion that dolphins sometimes perform behaviors that have the effect of rescuing or protecting other species. Fact 14. They use touch as a language. Touch in dolphin societies is a rich modality of communication. Tactile interactions, rubbing, gentle biting, pectoral fin contact, and body-to-body pressure carry nuanced social meanings, functioning in bonding, conflict resolution, and coordination. Because acoustic and visual signals have limits in some contexts, noise, turbidity, or tight physical proximity, touch provides immediate, high-fidelity information about another's identity, intent, and emotional state. Behavioral studies reveal a variety of tactile acts and their probable functions. Rubbing against another dolphin, often along the flank or head, promotes affiliation and may redistribute scent or skin microbes, reinforcing social cohesion. Pectoral fin contact, often likened to stroking, occurs during play, courtship, and post-conflict reconciliation. In mother-calf pairs, tactile contact maintains proximity, stimulates nursing, and aids in calf development. Aggressive or dominance behaviors include forceful biting or headbutting. The context and intensity modulate the meaning. Neurophysiologically, tactile receptors in the skin, combined with highly innervated regions around the face and fins, transmit fine-grained pressure and texture information to the nervous system. Social touch can trigger oxytocin release, a hormone associated with bonding and trust in many mammals, strengthening pair bonds and group stability. Additionally, touch works in tandem with other modalities. A specific whistle accompanied by a rub can communicate a friendly greeting, whereas the same whistle paired with aggressive pressure conveys a different message. Ecologically, tactile communication is especially useful in low-visibility conditions, dense fog, night, or muddy coastal waters, because it does not rely on light or sound propagation. It also supports cooperative behaviors like synchronized hunting, where precise body contact and pressure cues help maintain formation and timing. In competitive interactions, tactile probing can gather information about an opponent's size or readiness without escalating to full-blown conflict. Thus, touch in dolphins is not merely incidental contact, it's an information-rich channel embedded into their social repertoire. It complements vocal and echolocation signals, playing a central role in bonding, conflict management, and cooperative coordination, essential elements in the complex social lives of these marine mammals. Fact 15. They can be deceptive. Deception, deliberately providing false information or signals to mislead others, has been documented in several intelligent animal species and indicates advanced social cognition. Dolphins exhibit behaviors consistent with tactical deception. They sometimes use false signals or concealment to gain competitive advantages, access resources, or manipulate social partners. Documented examples include misdirecting conspecifics during hunts, feigning distress to distract rivals, or concealing food caches. For instance, a dolphin might emit attention-grabbing whistle patterns that lure others away while the signaler pursues prey covertly, or it might pretend to engage socially while subtly obtaining a resource. Such behaviors require understanding the perceptions and likely responses of others, known in cognitive science as a form of theory of mind or at least its functional precursors. From a cognitive perspective, deceptive acts imply several capacities: the ability to represent another individual's attention and knowledge state, to plan behavior that will alter that state, and to inhibit direct action in favor of a deceptive tactic. Dolphins possess the neural and behavioral flexibility for these processes. Their large, folded cerebral cortex supports complex decision-making, and their social lives provide frequent opportunities for strategic interactions. Observational studies report that deceptive tactics are typically opportunistic and context-dependent, deployed when the potential payoff outweighs the risk of detection and subsequent social retaliation. Evolutionarily, deception arises in competitive environments where individuals vie for limited resources, mates, food, or social status. Social species with stable groups face ongoing strategic interactions. Cooperation is beneficial, but exploitation can yield short-term gains. Selection favors individuals who can flexibly switch between cooperative and exploitative strategies depending on social context. However, deception also carries costs. If detected, it can damage reputation and reduce future cooperative opportunities. Thus, a balance emerges where deception is used sparingly and skillfully. In summary, dolphins' occasional deceptive behaviors are not moral failings but adaptive strategies enabled by advanced cognition and social complexity. They reveal that dolphins don't merely react reflexively, they can anticipate others' responses, manipulate information landscapes, and weigh long-term consequences, traits that underline their sophisticated social intelligence. Fact 16. They were once land animals. The evolutionary journey of cetaceans, from terrestrial, four-legged mammals to the fully aquatic dolphins we know today, is one of the clearest examples of macroevolutionary change documented in the fossil record. Around 50 million years ago, early ancestors of modern whales and dolphins, artiodactyl-like mammals, lived on land in what are now parts of South Asia and North America. Over millions of years, selection favored adaptations for life in water, limb modification, streamlined bodies, changes in respiration, and sensory reorganization. Fossils of transitional forms provide compelling evidence. Pakicetus, an early Eocene mammal, had auditory structures suggesting adaptations to hearing in water but retained a terrestrial body plan. Ambulocetus, walking whale, had limbs capable of bearing weight on land yet showed features consistent with powerful swimming. Subsequent forms like Rhodocetus and Dorodon display progressive modifications, reduction of hind limbs, elongation of the skull and jaw, and repositioning of nostrils toward the top of the head, a precursor to the blowhole. Over time, natural selection favored morphological changes that increased hydrodynamic efficiency, improved underwater hearing, including the development of fat channels in the jaw, and enhanced respiratory control. Genetic and developmental data corroborate the fossil evidence. Molecular phylogenetics places cetaceans within the artiodactyls, even-toed ungulates, with the closest living relatives being hippos. Developmental biologists have shown that cetacean embryos transiently express limb structures and digits before apoptosis and remodeling reduce limb size, echoes of their terrestrial ancestry. Additionally, changes in genes related to limb patterning, oxygen transport, hemoglobin/myoglobin, and lipid metabolism trace the physiological shifts necessary for diving and thermoregulation. The transition to aquatic life also entailed behavioral and ecological innovation, shifts to piscivory and suction feeding, development of echolocation in toothed whales, and social systems adapted to open water navigation. Thus, when we say dolphins were once land animals, we summarize a deep evolutionary narrative supported by fossils, comparative anatomy, developmental biology, and genetics, one of the most striking stories of adaptation in vertebrate history. Fact 17. They shed tears, but not emotionally. Dolphins have tear-producing glands and visibly watery eyes, but unlike humans, their tears are primarily physiological, serving ocular maintenance rather than expressing emotion. In marine mammals, ocular lubrication and protection are crucial given exposure to saline water and particulate matter. Anatomically, dolphins possess lacrimal and Harterian glands that secrete aqueous fluids onto the cornea and conjunctiva. These secretions help flush debris, maintain corneal hydration, and protect against salt-induced irritation. The fishy, aqueous saline environment and the mechanical abrasion from waves, plankton, or contact with sand during beaching events make robust ocular maintenance essential. Tears thus function as a protective film and as a sight cleaning mechanism, not as an emotional signal. Furthermore, dolphins lack common behavioral markers that would link tears to emotional states in humans, such as sobbing or lacrimation accompanied by vocalizations, although they do produce vocal signals and behaviors associated with stress, distress, or affiliative states. Distinguishing physiological tearing from emotion-linked lacrimation requires careful observation. Tear flow typically correlates with environmental exposure or irritation, while emotionally mediated behaviors involve complex social contexts and constellation of signs. Neurobiologically, emotion-induced tear production in humans involves limbic, hypothalamic pathways and parasympathetic outflow, while dolphins have analogous limbic components. The evolutionary pressures in aquatic environments may have favored conserving tear function for ocular health over its repurposing as an emotional display. That said, dolphins do express emotions via posture, vocalization, and tactile behavior, so their affective lives are real, even if visible watery eyes are not reliable indicators of grief or joy in the human sense. In short, dolphin tears are primarily an anatomical adaptation for eye protection in a harsh, saline environment. Emotional states in dolphins are communicated through other behavioral and acoustic channels, while tear secretion fulfills an essential physiological role. Fact 18. Their skin regenerates every 2 hours. Dolphin skin turnover is remarkably rapid compared to terrestrial mammals, a feature that maintains hydrodynamic efficiency and reduces parasite load in a demanding marine environment. While the precise figure every 2 hours simplifies a complex process, research shows cetacean epidermis exhibits rapid cell proliferation and sloughing rates, much faster than human skin, helping dolphins remain sleek and low drag. Epidermal renewal involves keratinocyte proliferation in the basal layer, upward migration through spinous and granular layers, and eventual shedding of dead cells at the surface. In dolphins, the epidermis is thick and composed of layers adapted to aquatic life, densely packed cells, high lipid content, and specialized connective structures. Faster turnover prevents biofouling, the accumulation of microbes, algae, or small invertebrates that would increase drag and energy costs during swimming. Even small increases in surface roughness elevate hydrodynamic resistance, so maintaining smooth skin is energetically advantageous. Mechanistically, water temperature, microbial exposure, and mechanical abrasion from swimming may stimulate elevated mitotic rates. Additionally, the high lipid and collagen content in cetacean skin likely support rapid regeneration by providing substrates and structural scaffolding. Observations of healed wounds also show efficient repair, suggesting robust regenerative pathways. Rapid shedding also limits the establishment of ectoparasites and skin infections, common risks in marine habitats where persistent larvae or fouling organisms concentrate. Functionally, quick skin renewal integrates with other adaptations for streamlining. Smooth, continuously renewed skin reduces turbulent boundary layers, improving swimming economy. For ecologists, the implication is that dolphins can sustain high-energy activities like long-distance movement and high-speed chases without accumulating drag-inducing fouling. From a health perspective, rapid epidermal turnover contributes to resilience against minor injuries and infections, important in social interactions that expose skin to bites or abrasions. So, while every 2 hours is a shorthand, the central truth is that dolphins possess unusually fast skin regeneration rates, a critical physiological adaptation for hydrodynamics, health, and survival in marine ecosystems. Fact 19. They can turn off pain. Dolphins exhibit remarkable tolerance for pain and injury, sometimes continuing normal activity after severe wounds that would incapacitate other mammals. Part of this resilience arises from endogenous analgesic systems, biochemical pathways that modulate pain perception, and behavioral strategies that mitigate the functional consequences of injury. Endogenous opioids, endorphins, and enkephalins are natural pain-relieving peptides found in vertebrates, including dolphins. When released during stress, vigorous activity, or injury, they bind to opioid receptors in the nervous system to reduce pain sensation. This analgesia supports immediate survival. A wounded dolphin that can still swim, surface, forage, or flee predation improves its survival chances compared to one immobilized by pain. Furthermore, catecholamines like adrenaline modulate alertness and pain thresholds during acute stress, fight-or-flight responses, complementing endogenous opioids. Behavioral factors also matter. Dolphins often engage in collective care. Group members may support or protect injured individuals, help them breathe at the surface, or assist in foraging. Such social buffering reduces the cost of injury and may allow a wounded animal to recover without succumbing to predators or starvation. The combination of biochemical analgesia, social support, and robust wound healing mechanisms, e.g., rapid skin regeneration, creates a resilience toolkit. There are trade-offs. Suppressing pain can hide injury severity, potentially worsening tissue damage if the animal continues activity that stresses wounded areas. Evolutionarily, however, the immediate benefit of maintaining mobility and social function likely outweighed the long-term risk in many marine contexts, particularly in predator-rich environments or for animals that depend on continuous movement for respiration. Scientific observations corroborate these mechanisms. Dolphins surviving shark bites, with large puncture wounds and missing tissue, nonetheless swim and socialize, indicating attenuated pain responses and efficient compensatory behaviors. Physiological studies on marine mammals confirm the presence of endogenous opioid systems and stress-related hormones consistent with analgesic effects. Together, these systems enable dolphins to turn off pain transiently, an adaptive response to survive acute threats and maintain function after injury. Fact 20. They might see with sound. The idea that dolphins see with sound captures the essence of echolocation, the formation of detailed spatial and object representations from returning echoes. While vision and audition provide distinct sensory inputs, echolocation constructs a high-resolution, three-dimensional auditory map that functionally resembles visual perception, allowing dolphins to recognize shapes, distances, and textures in the absence of light. Echolocation's information content is rich. By emitting rapid trains of broadband clicks and analyzing echoes, time delays, frequency modulation, and amplitude patterns, dolphins derive distance from time of flight, relative motion from Doppler shifts, and surface texture from spectral coloration. Furthermore, by moving and sampling echoes from different angles, active acoustic scanning, they build multi-perspective datasets that can be integrated into 3D representations. The brain performs sophisticated signal processing, temporal integration, pattern recognition, and spatial localization, transforming acoustic returns into cognitive maps that guide navigation and prey capture. Neurophysiological research shows specialized auditory cortical regions tuned to echo features and temporal patterns. Dolphins can focus acoustic beams with the melon and rapidly modify click rates and spectral content depending on task, behaviors analogous to changing focal length or gaze direction in vision. Behavioral experiments demonstrate that dolphins can discriminate objects based on shape and material via echolocation, sometimes matching or exceeding human visual discrimination under comparable conditions. They can identify fish species, detect small internal structures like swim bladders, and even detect changes in human body composition in controlled tests, evidence of echolocation's fine resolution. Conceptually, seeing with sound is not literal cross-modal conversion but rather the brain's construction of spatial representations from auditory input that serve the same ecological functions as vision: object recognition, spatial orientation, and motion tracking. In murky or dark water where vision is limited, echolocation becomes the primary perceptual channel, so much so that dolphins' cognition integrates acoustic, tactile, and occasional visual information into a multimodal understanding of their environment. Thus, the idea that dolphins might see with sound is rooted in how echolocation creates vivid, functionally visual-like perceptions using acoustic data. This capacity underscores dolphins' sensory flexibility and highlights how evolution repurposes different modalities to solve similar ecological problems. Thank you for watching Animal Hidden Facts. Don't forget to subscribe, support our channel, and stay tuned for more amazing insights in our next video.